Okay, so have you ever stepped on the scale after working out super hard for weeks and you're like, come on.
You're expecting to see results, right?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And then nothing. Oh, so frustrating.
What if I told you the number on the scale? It's not the whole story. It's just like one tiny piece.
Yeah.
Today, we are ditching the scale and we're going to deep dive into all the ways that you can actually track your progress.
Absolutely.
We're talking strength, mobility, endurance, even mental well-being, like the whole picture.
I love that.
We're using this podcast episode called episode 36, Tracking Progress, measuring improvements beyond the scale.
Okay.
As like the jumping off point for our conversation.
I love it. Sounds great.
So before we even jump in, let's talk about why do we even track progress in the first place?
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
It's not just about hitting certain numbers, right? It's about clues.
Yeah.
Like you're a detective gathering information.
You're a fitness detective.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah, and so you're trying to see, okay, what's working? What can I tweak? How do I get to my goals?
Right, and celebrate those wins along the way too.
Yes, celebrate the small wins, right?
Yeah.
Like when you realize, oh, I can actually lift heavier now, or I can move better, or I feel like I have more energy.
Yeah, and I think when you start celebrating those non-scale victories, right? Things like more energy, you're sleeping better, or even your mood is improved.
Yes.
You kind of shift your focus, right? From just a number to thinking about how is this benefiting me as a whole person?
Okay, so we're ditching the scale.
Yes.
We're embracing all these possibilities.
So many.
But where do we even begin? The fitness world throws all these metrics at us.
It is a lot.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded.
Right.
So instead of getting lost in this maze of metrics, let's tailor it, right? Personalize it to what your goals actually are.
I like that.
So for example, if you want to be strong and crush it in the weight room, then tracking your strength gains is going to be super important. And if you want to be like a yoga master, then flexibility and those really complex movements would be your main focus.
Exactly. It all comes down to what you want to achieve. So let's say you're training for a race.
Okay.
Then tracking your endurance, how long you can run or bike without getting tired, that becomes crucial.
So you get to choose your own adventure.
Exactly.
But for fitness.
Love that.
I love that. Okay, so you decide what matters the most to you and then you track that.
Totally.
Okay, so speaking of tracking, what are the best tools to actually do it?
Yeah. You don't need anything fancy, really. There are so many easy options.
Yeah.
From good old-fashioned pen and paper to, super sophisticated apps and wearables.
Ooh, I'm a big fan of the journal, just writing it all down.
Yeah.
My workouts, what I ate, how I was feeling that day.
Totally, like a little fitness diary.
Exactly.
I love that journaling is great for self-reflection.
Yeah.
But if you're a data person and you want those hard numbers, then a fitness app is going to be your best friend because they can track everything, heart rate, calories, burn distance, all that good stuff.
Oh, and then there are those wearables, the smartwatches.
Yes.
That's like having a coach, right there.
On your wrist.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. They track your sleep, how many steps you take, and even how intense your workout was.
And I think sometimes the most powerful tools are the ones that show us how our body is actually changing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Don't discount the power of taking photos or videos to see oh, wow, my form is so much better.
Yeah.
Maybe you finally nailed that squat or that yoga pose that you couldn't do before.
Yeah, you can actually see the progress.
Exactly. Seeing is believing.
Yes.
And it's that proof that all your hard work is actually paying off, even if that number on the scale isn't moving.
That's so motivating.
Yeah, and if you're specifically, focused on body composition, you know how your body's changing. Taking measurements can be super insightful. So tracking those inches around your waist or your hips or even your arms can show you how things are shifting.
I like that. Okay, so we've got our tracking tools.
Yes.
We're ready to go.
We're ready.
What are we actually looking for?
Yeah, what are those non-scale victories?
Yeah, what tells us we're making progress?
Yes. This is the exciting part.
Yeah.
So non-scale victories are all those subtle but significant changes that go way beyond that number on the scale.
Okay.
So let's start with strength.
Okay.
You're lifting heavier weights. You're able to push yourself and do more reps.
I remember the first time I was able to up the weight on my squats.
Yes.
I felt so strong.
That feeling, it's like you can conquer the world.
Yes. It was amazing.
I love that. And it's not just about, lifting a certain amount of weight.
Yeah.
It's those everyday things like carrying those heavy grocery bags or playing with your kids without getting tired.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you can see how your strength is actually improving in real life.
Yeah. And for like those yoga people, imagine like finally touching your toes.
Yes.
Or like getting deeper into that squat.
With perfect form.
The perfect form. Like that's a sign of increased mobility.
Exactly.
So you're moving better in all areas of your life.
That's the goal, right?
Exactly. Okay, what about endurance?
Yes. Let's talk about endurance. So maybe you're finally able to run that mile without stopping, or like you've been wanting to do this challenging hike and you can finally do it.
Yes.
Those are huge milestones.
It is. I remember like finishing my first 5K without stopping.
Woo.
I was like, I can do anything.
Yes.
Like you just feel amazing.
You feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
I love that. And what about those yoga poses, right, that seemed impossible before?
Yeah.
And you finally master them. It's not just flexibility, that's core strength and stability, which are so important for preventing injuries and just overall fitness.
This is all so much more motivating than just staring at a number on the scale. It makes you realize that fitness is about so much more.
It is about feeling good, right? Feeling strong.
Yeah, and moving better.
Moving back, yeah, like really experiencing positive changes in your whole body and mind.
Okay, so what about those like victories that are happening inside our bodies?
Yeah.
Like the things that we can't actually see.
Yeah, the things that are a little less obvious.
Yeah, what are some of those signs that we might miss?
So think about recovery time, right?
Okay.
Do you notice that your heart rate is coming down faster after a workout? Or you're not as sore the next day?
Yeah.
That's a sign that your body's becoming more efficient and resilient.
Oh, so it's like your body is a well-oiled machine.
Exactly.
It's working better.
Yeah. And what about the mental and emotional benefits, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you feeling more energized throughout the day?
Yeah.
Less stressed, more focused, happier?
Yeah.
These are all signs that your fitness routine is working on a deeper level.
It's crazy how much like taking care of your physical health can affect like your mental and emotional well-being.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
And that's why tracking those non-scale victories is so important, right? They give you that bigger picture of your progress.
Okay, so we've gathered all this amazing data.
Yes.
We're feeling good.
Yes.
Now we have to organize all this information.
Right.
So we can keep moving forward.
It's one thing to track it, but how do we use this information to keep going?
Yeah, how do we turn this into action?
Exactly. That's where a solid tracking system comes in.
Okay.
So the first step is setting those clear, specific goals.
Okay.
I'm not talking about vague things like, I want to get fit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about SMART goals.
Okay.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
SMART goals.
Yes.
I like that.
So instead of just saying, I want to get stronger,
Yeah.
a SMART goal would be like, I want to increase my deadlift by 20 pounds in the next 3 months.
Oh, okay. So it's like very specific.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah, and measurable, and there's a deadline.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's how it works with those non-scale victories too.
Okay.
So let's say your goal is to improve your sleep.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, I want to sleep better,
Yeah.
you could set a SMART goal like, I will be in bed by 10 p.m. every night for the next month. And I'm going to track how many hours of sleep I get using my smartwatch.
Oh, so you're using the tools
Exactly.
to actually track it.
Yeah, and it's specific, measurable, and totally doable.
I like that.
But what if your goal is something a little less tangible,
Yeah.
like improving your mood or reducing stress?
Yeah, how do you even measure that?
That's a great question. So for those kinds of goals, you can use a rating system.
Yeah.
So you could like rate your mood from 1 to 10 each morning and track those numbers to see if they're improving.
I like that. Simple but effective.
Exactly. The key is to find something that works for you and aligns with your goals.
Okay, so once you've got those SMART goals set,
Yes.
you have to figure out like, how often do you want to track your progress?
Yeah, because if you track too often, it can get overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
But if you don't track enough, then you might miss those subtle changes.
It's all about finding that balance.
Exactly. And it's also personal preference.
Yeah.
Some people like to track every day,
Yeah.
and some people prefer like a weekly or monthly check-in.
That's so true.
So it really depends on you.
This reminds me of when I was like first getting back into shape, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to track every single thing.
Yeah.
And I realized I was spending more time tracking than actually working out.
Right. You don't want to get bogged down in the details.
Exactly.
It should be enjoyable.
Yeah. So you have to find that frequency that feels right.
Yeah, that feels sustainable.
Yeah. That's not stressful.
And that you can stick with.
Right. Because even if you have the best goals and all these cool tools.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
If you're not consistent.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Like watering a plant,
yes.
you got to do it regularly.
Yeah, you can't just like water it once and expect it to be happy.
Exactly. Inconsistent tracking is like forgetting to water your plant.
It's going to die.
It's going to wilt.
It's going to wilt. Okay, so we've got the SMART goals. We've got our tracking system in place.
Check and check.
We're feeling good.
Feeling motivated.
But let's talk about the mental game for a second.
Yeah.
How do we stay positive, celebrate those wins, and like deal with the tough times?
Because they're gonna happen.
They're going to happen.
Yeah, that mental side of fitness is so important.
Yes.
And so often overlooked.
Because you know there are going to be days when you don't feel like working out.
Totally.
Or weeks when you're not seeing the progress you wanted.
Or you just want to quit.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it's normal.
We're all human, but the key is having those strategies in place.
Yeah.
So you can get through those tough times and stay focused.
So it's not just about having a plan for like your workouts.
Yeah.
You need a plan for your mindset.
You need a plan for your mind.
Okay, so what are some of those strategies?
So first things first, celebrate those wins. Every little victory, no matter how small, deserves to be celebrated.
I like that.
You're on a journey, remember?
Yeah.
And progress isn't always a straight line.
Yeah, we're always so hard on ourselves.
We are.
It's like, oh, I didn't do this. But we forget to think about how far we've come.
Exactly.
It's like that time I finally ran a 5K without stopping.
Yes.
I was so excited, even though it wasn't like a record-breaking time or anything.
It's a victory.
It was a victory, and I celebrated it.
Yes. And those moments are so important. They fuel you and keep you going.
Okay, but what about the times when we're not feeling celebratory?
Yeah.
Like we're stuck in a rut, we're not seeing the results we want, or we're just burnt out.
Yeah, that happens.
It does.
So that's when it's time to like reassess your goals.
Yeah.
And adjust your plan.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible in your fitness journey.
Yeah.
Maybe your body needs a new challenge, like a different workout or just a break. It's like eating the same thing every day.
Ooh.
You know, eventually you just crave something different.
So true.
Your body's the same way.
Yeah.
So instead of getting discouraged,
Yeah.
look at those plateaus as a chance to experiment and figure out what your body really needs.
Okay, so plateaus are good.
Plateaus can be good.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they can be a sign
Yeah.
that you need to change something up.
Okay, and rest is important too.
Yes, rest is so important.
I used to think like rest days were for people who weren't really serious.
Oh, yeah, I used to think that too.
But now I realize it's so important.
It is.
Let your body like rebuild and repair.
It's like hitting that reset button.
Exactly.
And rest doesn't have to mean being lazy.
Yeah.
It can be, you know, doing some gentle yoga, going for a walk in nature, or just spending some time meditating.
Like taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about plateaus, we've talked about rest. What are some other common pitfalls that we should like watch out for?
So one that can be really sneaky is comparison.
Uh-huh.
You know, social media can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's great for inspiration and connecting with people.
Yeah, I love like following those fitness accounts
Yeah.
that are like real and relatable.
Right, and they share helpful tips.
Yeah, it's really motivating.
It can be super motivating, but on the other hand, social media often shows this like perfect, curated version of reality.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's the highlight reel of perfect bodies and perfect workouts.
And everyone's like effortlessly making progress.
Exactly. So it's easy to fall into that trap of comparing ourselves to that highlight reel.
Yeah.
And feeling like we're not enough.
It's like you're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
It's a recipe for feeling discouraged.
Yes.
So it's important to remember that what you see online is just a snapshot.
Yeah.
It's not the whole story.
Yeah, everyone has those bad days and setbacks.
Everyone.
Even those fitness influencers
Even them.
with their perfect lives.
Exactly.
I've totally been there, like scrolling through Instagram and feeling envious
Oh,
of people who just seem to have it all figured out.
totally. And it's like you're already defeated before you even begin.
Yeah.
So the key is to focus on your own journey.
Yes.
Celebrate your own wins and remember that progress looks different for everyone.
Yeah, it's not a competition.
It's not a competition.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself,
Exactly.
not trying to be someone else.
So true.
But how do you like tune out all that noise
Yeah.
when it feels like everyone is talking about their achievements.
It takes a conscious effort to be mindful of what you're consuming on social media.
Okay.
So maybe unfollow those accounts that trigger those negative feelings.
Okay.
And instead focus on following accounts that inspire you, motivate you, and make you feel good about yourself.
That's a good idea. Because we have control
We did.
over what we're taking in.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of mental space,
Yes.
let's talk about the long-term benefits
Yeah.
of like tracking beyond the scale.
Yeah.
We've touched on this a little bit,
A little bit.
but I'd love to like go deeper.
I'm happy to go deeper. So when you shift your focus
Yeah.
from that number on the scale
Yeah.
to those non-scale victories,
Yeah.
you start to understand your body
Yeah.
on a deeper level.
Uh-huh.
You see how it responds to exercise.
It's like you're your own scientist.
Exactly.
You're like experimenting and observing.
Yes, you're gathering data,
Yeah.
you're analyzing patterns, and then making adjustments based on what you learn.
I like that.
Right. It's so empowering because
Right.
you're taking ownership of your fitness journey
Yeah.
and you're making informed decisions.
So instead of just like blindly following a random workout plan,
Exactly.
you're creating your own custom plan
It's tailored to you.
based on your body.
Exactly. And as you get more knowledge and experience,
Yeah.
you become less reliant on like quick fixes or what other people are doing. And you start to focus on building that foundation for like long-term health and well-being.
And that's the ultimate goal, right?
That is the ultimate goal.
It's about creating a lifestyle
Yes.
that supports you
Yes.
for the long haul.
I love that.
Okay, so, and along the way, like, you're probably going to experience so much more than just physical changes.
Oh, yeah.
You might find yourself feeling more confident,
Yes.
more resilient, more connected to your body.
It's amazing how taking care of your physical health can impact every area of your life.
Yeah, it's also connected.
It is, but it's important to remember this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
So there are going to be ups and downs,
Yeah, there are going to be challenges.
challenges and moments of doubt.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That's okay.
It's all part of it.
Exactly.
And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore how to stay motivated
yes.
and prevent burnout
Yeah.
and make this journey like a sustainable part of your life.
Love it.
Okay, but before we get into that, I have a question.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about comparison,
Yes.
but we also need connection and community.
Totally.
So how do we find that sense of belonging and support
Yeah.
without like feeling like we're not enough?
That's a great question, and that's something we're going to talk about more when we come back.
Okay.
But in the meantime, think about the people in your life, you know, your friends, your family, maybe online communities who support you and make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, those people who celebrate your wins
Exactly.
and offer encouragement when you're struggling
Yeah.
and remind you why you're doing this whole thing in the first place.
It's so important to have those people in your corner.
Exactly. You don't have to do this alone.
You don't.
There are so many resources and support systems out there
Absolutely.
to help you navigate this journey.
And we'll dive into those more when we come back.
Perfect.
But for now, we're going to take a quick break
Okay.
to let you process everything we've talked about.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then we'll be back to wrap up this deep dive with some actionable strategies for making fitness a sustainable and joyful part of your life.
That's what we want. Joyful fitness.
Joyful fit.
I like that. Okay. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. Did you think about that magic wand question? What non-scale victory would you choose? It's amazing how just thinking about those deeper goals can change how you think about fitness.
I know, right? It shows you that fitness is about way more than just what the scale says.
Okay, so let's talk about those pitfalls.
Yeah, those things that can trip us up.
Even when we're doing everything right.
Yeah, even when you're tracking and, you know, doing all the good things.
We talked about how bad it is to just rely on the scale.
Yeah.
But what about when you're tracking everything
Yeah.
and still not seeing results?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so frustrating.
It is frustrating, and it's important to remember that fitness, it's not one size fits all.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah.
So if you're hitting a plateau,
Yeah.
it might be a sign that your body needs something different.
Okay, so if I'm like following a workout plan
Yeah.
and not seeing results, should I just like ditch it and try something new?
Not necessarily ditch it, but maybe tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
Like maybe your body needs a new challenge,
Yeah.
a different type of workout, or changed in intensity,
Okay.
or even just like a break. Like eating the same meal every day. You know, you eventually want something different.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy.
Your body's the same way.
So it's not about getting discouraged.
No.
It's about like using those plateaus
Yeah.
as a chance to try new things.
Exactly. And really figure out what your body needs.
Okay, so plateaus are good.
Plateaus can be good.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they're a sign that something needs to change.
Okay, and rest is important too.
Rest is so important.
I used to think that like rest days were for wimps,
Yeah, I know, me too.
but I realize now it's so important to let your body repair.
Yeah, it's like hitting that reset button.
Yes.
And rest doesn't have to mean just like lying on the couch all day.
Yeah.
You know, you can do some gentle yoga, go for a walk in nature, or just take some time to meditate.
Like just chill out.
Yeah, exactly. Just take care of yourself.
Okay, so we talked about plateaus, rest. What are some other pitfalls?
Well, one that's really sneaky is comparison.
Oh, yeah.
You know, social media can be a double-edged sword.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On one hand, it's so inspiring. You know, you see other people's journeys, you can connect with people.
Yeah, I love following those fitness accounts that are like super real and relatable.
Yeah, and they share those helpful tips.
It can be really motivating.
It can be, but the flip side is that social media often shows us this like perfect curated version of reality.
Oh, yeah.
It's the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Perfect bodies, flawless workouts, effortless progress.
And everyone's just like always making progress.
Exactly. And so it's really easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves
Yeah.
to that highlight reel.
Yeah, and feel like we're not good enough.
Exactly. It's like we're comparing our behind the scenes
Yeah.
to everyone else's highlight reel.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It is. You end up
Yeah.
feeling discouraged before you even start.
Yeah. So it's important to remember that what you see online is just a snapshot.
Exactly. It's not the whole story.
Everyone has their struggles.
Everyone, even those fitness
Some of
influencers
them.
with their seemingly perfect lives.
They have bad days too.
They do.
I've totally been there, like scrolling through Instagram and feeling so envious.
Oh, yeah.
Like if they just have it all figured out.
And it's like you're defeated before you even begin.
Yeah.
So the key is to just focus on your own journey.
Okay.
Celebrate your wins and remember that progress looks different for everyone.
Right. It's not a competition.
It's not a competition.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself,
Exact.
not trying to be someone else.
Yes. So true.
Okay, but like, how do you tune out all that noise?
Yeah, when it's everywhere.
It is.
You know, it takes effort to be mindful of what you're consuming online.
Okay.
So maybe unfollow those accounts that make you feel bad
Okay.
and follow those accounts that inspire you and motivate you and make you feel good.
Yeah. Good advice.
It's about being intentional about what you're letting into your mental space.
Okay, so speaking of mental space,
Yeah.
let's talk about those long-term benefits
Yeah.
of tracking beyond the scale.
Yeah, we talked about this a little.
We did, but I just want to go a little deeper.
Let's go deeper. So when you shift your focus
Yeah.
from that number on the scale
Uh-huh.
to those non-scale victories,
Yes.
you really start to understand your body.
Yeah.
You see how it responds to exercise.
It's like you're your own scientist.
Exactly.
You're experimenting.
Yeah, you're gathering data, you're looking for patterns, and you're adjusting based on what you learn.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's really empowering
Yeah.
because you're taking ownership of your fitness journey
Yeah.
and you're making those informed decisions.
So instead of blindly following some random workout plan,
Yeah, exactly.
you're creating your own.
It's custom made for you based on your body and what it needs.
And as you gain knowledge and experience,
Yes.
you're not so worried about quick fixes or what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, you start to think long term.
You're like building a foundation
Exactly.
for long-term health.
For a lifetime of well-being.
That's the ultimate goal.
Right. That is the ultimate goal.
To create a lifestyle
Yes.
that supports you.
Yeah, for the long haul.
And along the way, you're going to experience so much more than just physical changes.
You will.
Like you might feel more confident,
Yeah.
more resilient, more connected to your body.
It's amazing how taking care of your physical health can impact all areas of your life.
It's all connected.
It is, but it's important to remember this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, yeah.
So there are going to be ups and downs and challenges and doubts along the way.
It's okay.
It's all part of the process.
It is. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to talk about staying motivated
Yes.
and preventing burnout
Yeah.
and making this a sustainable part of your life.
So important.
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
We talk a lot about the pitfalls of comparison,
Yeah.
but we also need connection and community.
Right. We're wired for it.
Yeah, so how do we find that support without feeling like we're not good enough?
That's a great question. And we'll definitely talk more about that when we come back.
Okay.
But in the meantime, think about the people in your life, your friends, your family, maybe some online communities
Yeah.
that really support you and make you feel good.
Yeah, those people who celebrate your wins
Exactly.
and encourage you when you're struggling.
Yeah.
And just remind you why you're doing this in the first place.
They help you stay on track.
Yeah, you don't have to do this alone.
You don't.
There are so many resources and support systems out there
So many.
to help you through this journey.
And we'll definitely talk about those more when we come back.
Okay, perfect.
But for now, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Just to process everything we've talked about.
Sounds good.
And then we'll be back to wrap up this deep dive with some strategies for making fitness a sustainable and joyful part of your life.
I love that joyful fitness.
Joyful fitness.
Okay, we'll be back soon.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about like that balance between motivation and comparison.
Yeah, like you want to feel that sense of community,
Right.
but you don't want to feel bad about yourself.
Exactly. Like, how do we do that?
Yeah, it's about finding your tribe. You know, the
Yeah.
people who are going to cheer you on
Uh-huh.
and give you that high five when you need it, and who understand that fitness isn't always about, you know, six-pack abs or like
Yeah.
setting PRs in the gym.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about like showing up,
Yeah.
you know, when you really don't want to.
Exactly. It's about celebrating those little wins, like choosing the salad instead of the fries, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or like squeezing in a 10-minute workout when you're super busy.
Yeah. It's those little things that add up over time.
They do.
Yeah, it's not about being perfect every day.
No,
It's just about making those consistent efforts.
exactly. And that's where having that support system is so important.
Yeah.
You know, surrounding yourself with people who like get it.
And they encourage you, that can really give you that extra push.
I know when I'm not feeling motivated,
Yeah.
like connecting with a friend or going to a group class really helps. It's like, you know, you're not alone.
You're not suffering alone.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And then when you celebrate each other's wins,
Yeah.
no matter how big or small,
Yeah.
it creates this like positive environment.
Yes. It's contagious.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. But even with the best support system, like life happens, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how do you make fitness a part of your life when you're busy with work and family and all the things?
It's tough.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's where it's really helpful to have like a clear why.
Yeah.
You know, why is fitness important to you?
Yeah.
What's driving you? Is it about your health or your energy, or setting a good example for your kids, or just feeling good in your own skin?
Yeah, I think when you have that purpose,
Yeah.
it's easier to make it a priority.
Yeah, you're more likely to stick with it,
Yeah.
even when things get tough.
It's like having that compass.
Yeah, North Star
Yeah.
that guides you back
Yeah.
when you get off track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our why,
Yes.
we've got our support system,
Yes,
but we also need to find ways to make fitness like part of our everyday life.
absolutely. You don't want it to feel like this separate chore,
Yeah.
right? Like something you have to do.
Right. So instead of dragging yourself to the gym when you're exhausted,
Yeah.
maybe you take a walk with a friend during lunch.
I love that. Or like have a dance party with your kids in the living room.
Fun.
Yeah, make it fun.
Yeah.
Find things that you actually enjoy.
Yes. And sometimes the best thing you can do,
Is rest.
rest.
Yes. We've talked about how important it is for your body to recover,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also crucial for your mental and emotional well-being.
Oh, for sure.
So when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or just burnt out,
Yeah.
sometimes the best thing you can do
Yeah.
is to just take a break.
Take a break.
Re-energize, and then come back to your routine feeling refreshed.
Yeah, rest is like hitting that reset button.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to step back and look at your goals and make sure you're still on the right track.
Yeah, and remember, this is about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
There are going to be setbacks. There are going to be days when you don't feel like it.
It's all part of the journey.
Yeah.
So be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Celebrate your wins, learn from your setbacks, and just keep moving forward.
That's such good advice.
And remember, you're not alone in this.
Right.
There are so many resources out there
Yeah.
to support you.
Yeah.
You know, from fitness apps and online communities to trainers and classes.
Like there's something for everyone.
There is.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I just want to encourage you
Yeah.
to ditch the scale.
Yes.
Embrace those non-scale victories and remember that fitness is about so much more than just a number.
Yeah, it's about feeling good,
Yes.
moving with confidence, and creating a lifestyle
Yeah.
that supports you.
That supports your whole self.
Yes.
So how are you going to move your body today? What small step can you take to nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit?
That's a great question to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into fitness beyond the scale. We'll see you next time.